For today's project, you will need a floor jack, jack stand, 3/8 ratchet with 12mm socket, 1/2 inch impact with a 19mm socket, a large wrench, C-clamp, large hammer, and preferably a set of needle nose pliers. Also, you'll need your brakes. Remove your reservoir cap before starting. Oh, and I forgot. Gloves are optional. Some people think it takes their man card away, but I don't. So if you want them, wear them. If you don't, get that dish detergent, dog. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and jack the car up. Next, place your jack stand under the support of the car. Lower the jack. And I like to leave my jack here too, just in case. At this point, you're going to want your impact and your 19mm socket. If you don't have an impact, that's okay. Just use a 4-way and keep the tire on the ground until you break loose all 5 lug nuts. Then when you jack the car up, you can finish taking the lug nuts off. Now place your lug nuts in a safe location until you need them again. You can also use the tire as a seat. Now you'll need your 3/8 ratchet and your 12mm socket. There's a bolt here and a bolt here. Take these two out to pull off the caliper. Now that the bolts are removed from the caliper, you're going to want something to pry the caliper out with. Generally they're pretty easy, sometimes they can be a pain. Let the caliper hang freely, but just softly set it down so that you don't damage the brake line. Now with the caliper out of place, simply take the brake pad, slide it out of these 2 slots, and it's free. They're not completely wore out, but it was the customer's request to have them replaced, and he specifically requested not to replace the rotor. To be honest with you, this rotor's in pretty rough condition. There's a pretty big dip in it right here, and I've informed him, but he still doesn't care. He wants the brake pads only. Now before you go any further, it's really important to make sure that the caliper piston goes back into the caliper. To do that, take your old brake pad, flip it around backwards, take your C-clamp, find a safe spot on the back of the caliper that you won't damage the line. Go ahead and tighten the C-clamp and just get that caliper piston back up inside the caliper. If you don't do this, you won't be able to get the caliper back over the new brake pads. Now when you're looking at your new brake pads, you're going to notice that one of them has a shiny piece of metal on it. That piece of metal actually comes in contact with the rotor when your brake pad's getting too low. That's what will make your brakes squeal when they are getting low. Generally, this will face on the inside and will be up against the caliper piston. Before installing your new brake pads, make sure that both clips are installed into the caliper. Now with your new brake pads in place, you can go ahead and lay the caliper back over. It's a little bit tough at first to line up your bolts. I recommend doing the top one first because you can see it easier. Now that it's lined up, go ahead and do your bottom. Back to your 3/8 ratchet. And there you have it, folks. You've just put your own brake pads on your own car. Reinstall your tire. Press it up onto the center hub, put your toe against the tire. It'll hold the tire in place while you place your lug nuts on. Give them a couple threads, just to make sure that you don't accidentally cross-thread one. So, begin here, then here, 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 and here. To do that, you will evenly torque the wheel down against the assembly. Now reinstall your hubcap. It's important that you put these lug nut covers on by hand. They are plastic and they're very easy to break. Lift the car back up. Recover your jack stand. slowly lower the car. Now repeat these same steps on the passenger side and you're good to go.